In case you didn't know, these apartments, which are part of these, were officially opened in 2008. And I actually remember that there was a red barn and an empty field otherwise, because I guess the farmhouse had been removed, that sat probably somewhere right between this building, which is the B building, and then the next one over, which is the C building. And I remember watching these go up after they took down the barn. And suffice to say, they are as low quality as you probably would expect. You got that right there. It's owned by the same landlord, but it's a different apartment complex. And that is actually mixed use for once, which is pretty neat. Willow Creek Transit Center is tucked just back behind this building, which is the L building of Wyndhaven. And so it's just adjacent to this building, back that way. That's why you have the MAX crossing here, which is atrocious. And TriMet is well, actually, it's no longer a TriMet project. Apparently, it's a City of Hillsboro project. But I think 3 or 4 years ago, during the pandemic, I think it was 2022, maybe. TriMet had not announced anything, but they had officially proposed to put in a apartment complex, supposedly specifically for affordable income and mixed use, which these actually are right here. Back in the park and ride of Willow Creek Transit Center, which is literally directly back here, back in the park and ride, because it's always empty, and they had originally proposed to like take half of the park and ride and then make it into apartments. However, they dropped that, which is understandable because they didn't announce it at all to anyone. So nobody knew about it really. So they didn't really get any support for it. So they couldn't have been very serious. But the city of Hillsboro recently announced that they are actually taking that over. So after it disappeared for about 3 years, they're gonna supposedly bring it back. The city of Hillsboro is and rebuild it. But yeah, this is at least partially mixed use on the bottom. So 5/1, which is typical. 4 or 5/1 is so typical for U.S. suburban developments. And there's this stupid complex, I'm sure everyone's familiar with if they've ever been in this area or looked on Google Earth, the Street View, or Maps, which is in a little loop. So I can actually link you to a clip I made of all that, but always like the little Willow Creek wetland area they left in there. But I'll leave a link to the video, but it goes around the complex, and then when they built that, because they banned left turns because of the proximity to the tracks, because that was a terrible idea when they built that, you know, band-aid solutions, they just thought, what would be a better idea than building a 3-story apartment complex in the island that this loop creates, and then put a traffic signal back there for the people to turn, knowing everyone's going to be arrogant and nobody's going to actually let anyone through, especially during rush hour. So woohoo! And now they're building that monstrosity that we're about to pass on the opposite side, which is the entire place where all that greenhouses and gardening place was recently. And they tore it all out so that they can do this whole thing. You can see all the way down there. You look. And it goes all the way around and behind here up to 185th over here. It's an entire subdivision development, except it's supposed to also be multi-story, and I'm hoping mixed use. But then again, whether it's mixed use or not, it's in a abhorrent location, especially where if you actually look on Google Earth and on Google Satellite View, you can very clearly see where all the roads are gonna enter and exit into this property over here. And it's absolutely atrocious considering how close it is to that mess and the track crossing over there. And then these guys are in here, and off of that loop You see right there, they're going to, in the center of it, they're going to have a little entry-exit point, like slip lanes, going into this development, which is so stupid. That's one of the first things they built, actually. I'm surprised, though, and I noticed this yesterday, I'm surprised that they're actually putting in the sidewalks first. They're not sufficiently wide, though, for the complexes going in there, but I don't know how dense everything's getting. But yeah, so you can see the much older subdivision in the background there. It goes all the way back there, all the way to those trees, and all the way to the furthest buildings you see this direction. So it sucks. There you go. 2 new neighborhoods. Well, it's actually technically 1 because it's all together, as you can see, but 2 new neighborhoods. 3-story attached townhomes and single-family detached. Oh, goody. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been okay with missing middle. It's fucking stupid. Like, either build your mixed use, like 4/1 at least, if not more, or just stop doing it if you're gonna do infill like this. That makes no sense otherwise. I'm gonna apologize right now because I forgot to do that before about if the video quality somehow has tanked, because the one thing I dislike about these Google Pixel 6s is the fact that they overheat way too easy. Like, they're as bad as I am with heat. So it's more humid than it is actually hot right now. It's like 80, but the humidity is making it feel a lot hotter. That said, this is one of the big urbanist things I wanted to show, because I think it's cool that they're actually doing, even though it's 5/1, I still, or sorry, 4/1. I still think that it's cool that they're adding density. But I also thought it was kind of strange. As you can see, they completed this one off to the far corner. They completed that one in the back corner, and they completed one over here, back here. But the center building, for some reason, they're doing last, and I thought that was very abnormal phasing, which is really interesting. But there's another thing I actually want to note about this and showcasing it, and that is the weird mix of quality, because recently I had actually, again, I'll link to that short I made in the description and pinned comment, but I was mentioning how modern, what I call a modern American matchstick builds is exactly this. It's all this press board, particle board crap. The floors, the walls, the ceilings, the roofs, they're all made out of this crappy press board and stuff. So that's obviously means that they're incredibly just face value shit quality buildings. But for some reason they've actually mixed I've noticed they've been mixing the quality, because the bottom floor is somehow like all concrete and steel. But then everything else is just the press board, particle board, which I just cannot understand, because it just doesn't make, like, you should never make anything with press and particle board, especially actual main structures like this, because that is horrible, horrific quality. Like, there's just no excuse for that. That is just called cutting corners, and that's all it really is. I do find it interesting, though, that, and ironic that, of course, the main density, for some stupid reason, is going to be in this complex, which is Kidder Corner to the Elmonica parking right at MAX Station. But the original development, which is this one, is only 3-story apartments. Go figure. And then these buildings, I showed a little bit earlier, they're 2/1s, and they only have two of them that are mixed use. This one and this one. That's it. Like, that's the all mixed use that exists in all this area. So hopefully that'll have mixed use, and like that building especially would have mixed use, because that way, that finished one, because then that's also closest to there. That would make a lot of sense. But not being mixed use makes no sense. So if not that building, this one, I think definitely should have the mixed use in the bottom, because again, congratulations, you're at the transit center now. Well, not transit center. It should be a transit center. I'll actually link videos to a proposed Westside bus network expansion that I have, which details, it's very well chaptered. So like, though it's long and intimidating at first, if you actually look, it's heavily chaptered. So everything's pretty peppy in reality. But yeah, I proposed like making it into an actual transit center, so it has at least 2 bus bays in there. One would be for a baseline route that would go from Beaverton Transit Center up Jenkins, which is also baseline, which is also Main Street, all the way up. It would go here though, instead of Willow Creek. Then it would go the rest of the way to downtown Hillsboro and the main transit center. Block 67 is going to be developed into mainly a retirement community, unfortunately. So, though it would make a lot of sense to be able to redevelop it in mixed use, but actually be able to place a proper transit center there rather than where Hillsboro Central currently is, it's not going to happen now, which is terrible. But yeah, because of the proximity of this building to there, I actually think that this should be mixed use, plus all the rest of the density. Victory Flats, Elmonica, I think it's literally called Elmonica 170, so 170th, the transit center, those apartments. It gives people even more choice than the tiny little options that are exclusive to the tinier footprint of those buildings across the street. And then obviously everyone who lives in this complex can also do that too. And they just have those 2 over there. They have the bottom floor of this one, and then the bottom floor over there on the far side. I think those are the 2 that would make the most sense, especially considering we saw that the other one is not mixed use. This one does not say it is or is not mixed use, but I have a feeling it probably isn't going to be, even if it should be, because those windows, that they're longer and taller, I think that it kind of says everything that they're identical otherwise, and they're true that way the whole building, as you'll see in pictures and stuff. Ooh, flutterby, Petey flutterby. I can't remember what kind of flutterby that is. Interesting. Airports, a red line, but self-test, blue line. Okay, I've never seen that before. I'm glad I started to record that. That's a bizarre one. Self-test. Okay then.